The worst models in the Middle-earth strategy battle game, 139 of them at 1,000 points. This weekend is going to be an interesting one. Hello and welcome to another Battle Games in Middle-earth YouTube video. I'm Harry and this is the final chapter in my Ruffian building challenge, which I set myself in January to paint 139 Ruffians and take them to 1,000 point tournament. These are the worst models in the Middle-earth strategy battle game, it's fair to say. They're very poor, they've got defense 3, strength 3, fight 2, courage 2, they're just absolutely pants. But I love the idea of Sharky's Rogues doing well in a tournament, so I thought I'd swarm the battlefield of 1,000 points, which is usually dominated with heroes and all that sort of stuff, and try my best to have a bit of fun and to basically indulge in some strange thematic gaming. Friend of Schools is not about competitive gaming even slightly. It's all about making your army look pretty and theme, and the tournament points are awarded for those things, and also having fun. You have your favourite game votes and all that sort of stuff play into it. And so I'm not here to game myself to victory. Although with 139 models, you never know, because there's objective scenarios should come up, and if I get a few of them, I could be in for a chance. But the most important thing is that these Ruffians aren't mine. I didn't pay for the vast majority of these Ruffians. These were contributed by you guys. I know you're out there watching these videos, and there's so many of you that have contributed to the cause. Essentially, you've paid for these Ruffians. I've painted them. I'm taking them to battle and returning at the end of this weekend to hopefully send them, well, I will send them off to you, but hopefully they're not going to be sort of beaten and downtrodden Ruffians. They're going to be successful, award-winning or game-winning, or I don't know, tournament-winning Ruffians. We'll see. If I can take them to the top of that podium, oh, wouldn't that be beautiful? Although, as I said, this is about favourite game votes and painting beautiful armies and things like that. So even if I win all 5 of my games, it's still not a surefire thing. So, but either way, those of you who have contributed, you came up with really cool ideas for the themes for each of your warbands. I encouraged this. I wanted interesting and outlandish themes. So we've got the Napoleonic Ruffians, we've got the football hooligan Ruffians, we've got cyberpunk Ruffians, we've got pastel-coloured Ruffians, we've got pirate Ruffians, we've got Baratheon-themed Ruffians, and we've got plenty of Middle-earth Ruffians to go along there as well. So thank you for all those ideas, because it's made painting 139 Ruffians a lot more enjoyable. That's sure. That's for sure. But there's not much left to say. But let's crack into those games. I successfully painted the last of the 12 Ruffians, which at the end of the last video I was saying, oh, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do it, but I managed to squeeze them in a night's furious painting, and they will be ready for the tabletop. But there's a couple things left for me to do. First one is pack all the damn things, and 2, I think we need to change clothes, don't you? So who better to lead the Ruffians to victory at not Throne of Schools than Saruman in disguise as a weary traveller? It is, of course, Sharky, and I'm going to take my rogues into battle. But first, I've not got long. I've only got 12 hours to pack up the Ruffians. I'm not sure I'm actually going to be able to do this in time. Right, so football Ruffians first. Can't forget their little football. Oh, and to round things off, 4 dead hobbits as objective markers. Worm. And of course, my likeness, Sharky. Oh, my back. We're done. It's finished. I'm on my way to Throne of Skulls. I've got my all my gear. 139 Ruffians. And obscured eyesight for the journey. Welcome After a journey involving questionable singing and questionable looks from other drivers, it's fair to admit, I finally arrived at Warhammer World, ready to play game number 1 of the Battle for Middle-earth, and taking on Thomas Wag in the process. Here is my sea of ruffians, ready to take him on in a game of destroy the supplies against one of the smallest armies going. It's the Grey Company led by Halbarad with Legolas, and quickly they sniped out Sharky. Not a great start, but then the Ruffians collided, the two flanks sent up to capture the objectives, and plenty more heading off towards the central objective while the Rangers engaged. But of course, Rangers engaging against Ruffians, they quickly chopped through, and they did manage to kill a few special characters, including poor old Bill Fernie, Tragedy, and a sea of other Ruffians, it's fair to say. Not long after that, we broke, leaving, look at this, a very sparse number of guys on the field, but mostly ran away. Look at all them, and these are all the dead guys. Still, 7-6 loss, not bad. Game 2, I was against Amy with Thranduil's Halls. She's got all the stuff going on. She's got Thranduil, she's got Legolas, and she's got Gandalf the Grey, along with Tauriel as well. This was Assassination as well, so not the easiest of missions to face up against the Ruffians, but a sea of Ruffians heading forward, do the deed, and I was clashing left, right and centre, but mainly focusing my force on the left-hand side as we pan across here, past the archers ranked up on the building, which were useless, never do that. Most of my guys were doing the work on the left-hand side of the battlefield, against these sort of Rangers hiding in the woods. I was cracking through them, strength 3 against the defence 3, not so bad, but I was trying to get Cid into Tauriel there, and I was very close. We got a few attacks off against her, immobilised her a couple of times to take her Blade Wrath away, Blade Mistress away, and Gandalf revealed showed his hand pretty early on in the game. He was trying to go for Ted Sandyman. The resistance to magic paid off once, and then he hid for the rest of the game, and Thranduil was left alive, leaving a victory to me in the end, because I managed to immobilise Tauriel and trap and surround her. Didn't quite get the kill with Cid Briarthorn, but not bad. On to game number 3 then, and it's Hold Ground, so it's a Maelstrom of Battle mission. Not ideal, because all my Ruffians come on pretty much anywhere that they land, because they can't mite them, a lot of them, and they get picked on by eagles, and then by Gil-galad and his elven friends against Celeborn as well, with a load of fight 6 pikes. Useless against the Ruffians, but still very good. But as you can see, the sea is already getting into the centre over here. I've got a few Ruffians and a couple of little hobbit boys right in the corner, but crucially clinging on to that central objective and clinging on to a pint of bitter for the last game of the day. Then we've got, as we move in, we've got Gwaihir engaging with the Pastel Ruffians there, so Skylar's guys are going to be bullied up, but again, retaining that central objective, that's a turn later. One Ruffian holding firm against Gil-galad and a few Rivendell Knights there. And the final tally in the centre, I believe this is such a long game with the Maelstrom of Battle mission. The final tally, as you can see, that Hobbit is the objective in the centre there. And despite all of those pressuring, those elves pushing in on the side, and even with an eagle just kind of threatening a hurl a few times, I managed to shoot away the people fighting the eagle often. And despite killing only these 2 Rivendell Knights and losing this massive number of casualties over here, I still managed to scrape a win. With that, it was over to an exciting preview of the new Middle-earth supplement due in the new year, Defence of the North, featuring lots of cool things about Lothlorien and Erebor, and of course, also having this wonderful creature, a new Easterling hero, mystery hero, strongly hinted to be the Dragon Emperor carried aloft but on a palanquin of some sort, and also these guys, which I managed to buy and will be giving away to one of my lucky patrons. If you want to be in for a chance to win that, join the Patreon scheme up here. So I've taken my wig off, I'm back at the Airbnb and I'm pretty tired, it must be said. But I've got one major win, one minor win and one minor loss. So actually doing really well at the end of day one of not Throne of Skulls. I've got 12 tournament points, and that's despite killing only one model in the first game and 2 models in the final game. Fair few more in the middle game, which was my major win. But still, going really well for the Ruffians. And I think people have enjoyed playing against them. I think. Because they got to kill, like, hundreds of models over the course of 3 games. Either way, it's bedtime, and then I've got 2 more games tomorrow, and if I can finally clutch that positive win-loss ratio, then maybe the Ruffians are a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Bedtime. See you in the morning. Day number 2 starts with a fine English breakfast at Bugman's Bar and then straight into battle, and it's divide and conquer against Elendil and Gil-galad. So a Last Alliance themed army there. Is a lovely conversions and paint jobs on Martin's troops here, and also he has Kurdan, so another blinding light, and also a elven captain mounted on a horse as well, against, of course, the sea of ruffians, and of course, you know, this is divide and conquer, so it's dividing my army in half, but each half of my army is pretty sizable, it's fair to say. We're after this objective, hiding in the trees. That's worth 2 points, I think, as maximum. Central one is worth 5 if no other opponents are on it, or 3 with just more, and the same for the first one as the last one, so 2 points for that. And then we've got another half of my ruffian force. So on to the first sort of turn or two. It was quite quick. The engagements were very quick. Captain engaging here, Gil-galad charging here. We're seeing this from a different perspective at this point. So this is one of the outer objectives. But either way, Martin was keen to get stuck in quite quickly, the central objective there, and then the furthest away objective over there. He's kind of given up on this objective, hiding in the woods and the terrain. I guess he just figured there's just too much kind of terrain in the way to get there, and had so many bodies there that, you know, it wasn't worth fighting over. As the game progressed, though, I really swamped the warband over there. The captain is surrounded there by some ruffians, so are the Numenorians in there and some of the elves. Gil-galad deciding to move over to this flank to help out with Kurdan and so on, charging some ruffians there in the central objective, alongside Elendil, who'd lost his horse at this point from shooting. Great stuff. Then the ruffians still trying to engage over here, but again, the elves just holding them up rather than really trying to go for that objective. The central objective now getting a few guys on it, but crucially here, a big sea of ruffians ready to arrive onto those big guys. They've got to really put the work in to clear off this lot. Sid over here with his banner effect, and a load of elves and Numenorians that are really trapped, and the captain went down to a thunderous chorus of blows from the ruffians. So looking pretty good position-wise here. I've got lots more guys in the middle. It's just getting more models in the centre, so that's not so bad. Again, the army's all collapsing in onto the centre here. Gil-galad in the centre. Elendil has been cast magic upon, well, not magic, Harry Goatleaf. Rolls a dice. You can't even resist it on a 3+. He can't move, so he suffered from that a couple of turns in a row. Gil-galad got 2 immobilizers to the face, one of which I think he passed. So just dividing up the amount of killing they could do. This was the dead pile for the elves, this is the dead pile for the ruffians, and I took the lead. So the final game, to my dismay, was Lords of Battle. So all about armies scoring wounds upon one another, and look what you can see. That's not 1, not 2, but Tree Ents, including Treebeard and Beachbone there on the right, and Haldir with a load of elf bows hiding behind walls, along with Celeborn hiding behind a load of walls. Celeborn's got a cool conversion, we'll look at him later. And of course my ruffians deploy. They can't see any of the elves, so they can't win a shooting war. They're straight into combat. And this, despite looking a lot like my beard, it's actually Rowan Thistlewood using his special rule to set a building on fire, because I didn't find a chance to do it, or forgot to do it throughout the rest of the game, so I thought I had to do it at some point. Then, trees surrounded, but alas, being bludgeoned to death, my ruffians.
And a big moment here because it's the first whip kill that actually kills an enemy in the whole of the tournament. Very nice, and he carries on and moves into some elves there, getting lots of traps off against those wood elves, not too bad. But the Ents standing firm, and these elves at the back, I think perhaps mistakenly shooting the whole game through. They're safe, but perhaps not killing as much as they could be, shooting over into here where there's very few guys left towards the end. And as I mentioned earlier, what a lovely Celeborn. This is inspired by the children of Hurin. I think he's the guy off the front cover, actually. Beautiful conversion with Glamdring and Dragon Helm. Then, as we go to close of the final turn, Sid manages to take down Celeborn. The elves looking pretty desperate in the pile there, but sadly, their pile is nowhere near as desperate as mine. And with that, the tournament comes to a close, and it really was great fun, and Damien made a massive effort dressing up, and I like to think I put some smiles on faces as well. But of course, there are awards to hand out. Here's the gathering at the top of the tournament, where loads of people got nominated for Best Army, and an amazing bunch of models and bunch of people doing excellent hobby. Here's a look at some of them. Some amazing hasherin with loads of different themes. We've got some hundreds of goblins putting my ruffians to shame, and also Kalman, who painted a fantastic Thorin's Company. Damien, who did some Ents, including Treebeard there. And here, though, is the winner, which was James Crawford and his amazing, gorgeous Dunland army on a fantastic display board. Really kitted out to the nines. Absolutely fantastic piece of work with Saruman and Thryden leading the bunch. And there he is, stepping up to earn himself a prize. But that's not it. We had the best sporting character as well, which was, drumroll please,
taking home the bronze ring. This goes to Sam Devonish.
Yes, that's right, it's Sam Devonish, who also managed to take home the prize for third position, which is absolutely fantastic. Not an easy feat with Easterlings, it must be said. But of course, it's worth considering it's not all down to gaming score, although he did manage to get 20 points, which I think is 3 wins and 2 minor losses. So very good effort from Sam, and the most sportsmanship votes as well. So a cracking effort from him. Then in second place, it was Damien O'Byrne. This is the third time in a row that Damien's managed to get to the top of the leaderboard, or almost, onto the podium at Throne of Skulls, which, considering Throne of Skulls is set up purely for encouraging sportsmanship and modelling and all-round hobbying, it just shows that Damien truly is a titan, or I probably should say an Ent of the hobbying world. But taking home the top position in gold position is Kalman Steele's Right. That's right, he took Thorin's Company there. He actually won a lot of his games. I think it's something like 4 games out of 5, which is amazing. Loads of victory points, and still managed to secure himself 4 favourite game votes from people, and have 4 army presentation votes from people as well. So an amazing achievement there to not only smash people and also have an amazing painted army, but also put a smile on people's face while you're doing it.
So that was not Throne of Skulls or the Battle for Middle-earth at Warhammer World. 1,000 points, 139 ruffians. I am absolutely exhausted after that weekend, but kind of on a buzz because it was such a thrilling and entertaining and just generally great time. And I always love Throne of Skulls because it's just, there's such an atmosphere at this tournament that there isn't really at many other tournaments that I go to, and I go to a lot of them because of the Entmoot podcast. But I can't say much other than Kalman was a massively deserving winner of the tournament. I didn't get to play him, but I know I've played him before, and he runs lots of cool armies like Thorin's Company and the Fellowship, and some Dwarven armies. He's a very good player, but he's a lovely bloke to play against, even if he's absolutely destroying annoying you, which I know he did to some of his opponents. I think he tabled one of them and still managed to get loads of favourite game votes, which skew the order of the rankings in Throne of Skulls. So it's not all about winning your games, as I managed to win 3, which is pretty good out of 5. But I everyone gets voted on painting and on their sportsmanship or whether people had a favourite game against them. So there was just such a high standard of painting and incredibly lovely people. Every single person I played against was an absolute gentleman or gentle lady in the case of Amy. So it was a thrill. And it must be said, congratulations both to Damien O'Byrne, who you saw in the video going up to see his get his prize for second place with the Treebeard costume. And if you've seen pictures on the GBHL Facebook group, it's an outstanding costume. I mean, it puts my wig to shame, but well and truly deserving of the podium prize that he got. And also Sam Devonish, I think it's Devonish, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who was voted for best. I think he was most sporting in the whole tournament, and came 3rd with an Easterling army as well. So if anyone listens to my podcast, I've been trying to make Easterlings work. Maybe I should have done that today, and just been a nicer person than I am. But either way, it was top tournament stuff this weekend. The Ruffians performed incredibly well. As I say, 3 wins out of 5. I mean, I can't say much better than that. Well, I can win 5. But Lords of Battle was an auto lose. There was like no way I was ever going to win that. And I played very poorly in my first game against Tom. Had I hidden my my leader in the early turn, maybe things would have been different. But either way, just a generally fantastic weekend. And I'm kind of sad now to have to say this is the end of the Ruffian Challenge. It's December, the tournament is over, and I always promised everyone who contributed Ruffians to the cause will get them. So if you don't remember, essentially, I asked for people to buy or send their Ruffians to me. I've painted them all in whatever fun colour schemes that I could think of or you could think of, and now they've got to go home. They've got to return to their rightful owner. So it's kind of tinged with regret and sadness that my 139 Ruffian army will never go to the tabletop again, because I'm never going to paint as many Ruffians again, and lots of other people deserve the Ruffians that they've paid for and owned. So it's sad, but it's got to be done. So thank you so much to all of those who've contributed to the Ruffian Challenge. The Ruffians have been delightful. I've loved painting them, especially because your colour schemes have been so interesting. And the tabletop, I mean, they performed. They really did perform. And tips for anyone who does want to do this in the future is, number 1, don't. It's quite a gargantuan undertaking. But if you do, don't. But if you actually really do want to do this, it's a really good army. I think it has the potential to win tournaments at this level. Probably 800 points or thereabouts. You get all the heroes, including Harry Goatleaf, who shuts down enemy heroes, which is pretty essential. Lotho Sackville Baggins, who has his 4-wheel to counter courage, which is amazing. It's so good for Ruffians, Courage 2, to be able to just charge Ents and surround them. And all the other heroes, which are not very good. I did set fire to a building once, but no one was touching it, so it was a bit stupid. I could have probably set fire to a building and actually done some damage, but alas, the chance never quite came up. So I think there's potential. There actually is potential. If you're willing to do, it'll probably be around 110 models, or 100 and maybe actually probably more like 90 models, then go for it. Why not? What could you lose? What are you going to lose? I mean, you other than your sanity in painting them, I'd highly recommend it. And with that, I've got to send them on their way.
So as I pack these guys and send them out, I just got to pay tribute one last time to Rowan Williams, to Russell, to Nathan, to Brian Necht, to, I think that's how I pronounce it, to Gayerton, to Skylar, to Darren Dickinson, to Adam Sirens, and to Jason Mountain for sending these Ruffians to me. I really, really hope you enjoy getting them in the post in the next few weeks. And I can't say thank you enough, and thank you everyone else for watching. If you want to support the channel in any way, please consider joining the Patreon scheme. That's Battle Games in Middle-earth. Just search for that on Patreon. It's in the link below. And you can join there and you'll be in for a chance to win a prize in our next Patreon prize draw.